I'm Jen Burson, the founder of Generation PR and the creator of the Profitable PR Pros community, a one-stop shop, a one-stop resource hub for community resources for you to become a pitching powerhouse and launch, grow, and scale your own profitable PR agency. We are true earned media PR professionals. There's a skill that's involved with what we do. And all of us that are working so hard to secure these features, we know how hard it is. It's frustrating explaining this to clients. The whole idea of pay-to-play media placements, it has been around as long as I have been working in PR, and much longer, which for me is almost 17 years. But it's becoming more and more prevalent, and it's looking a lot different these days. Have you ever worked with a client, any of you, who expected certain results to be delivered, like a guarantee, or maybe you felt pressured, especially this happens when we're just starting out, or like, new, and you think that in order to land big clients, like your kind of, dream clients, high-end, big ticket retainer clients, that you have to guarantee results in order for them to take you seriously. Let me just tell you that industry standard, we are not guaranteeing results. And I'm going to get into the code of ethics and what is actually happening in our industry for true earned media professionals, which is what all of you are here to learn, to hone, and what service we provide. We kind of struggle with this, but it's getting more tricky to navigate, especially because these opportunities are sometimes coming straight to your clients. So what even are pay-to-play media placements? One umbrella is paid opportunities from these media outlets. And these are sometimes very obvious, and sometimes they're really sneaky. Okay, so the obvious ones have been like advertorials, or maybe there's like an ad. If you can't afford an ad in a publication, they'll do like a page that has a theme, like hot finds for October, and there's multiple products, and they're paying a little bit of money for the placement. And these are advertorials. Maybe to the consumer, it's a little tricky because they think it might be pure editorial, but traditionally, clients have known that those are actual paid placements. They are not editorial. There's also other opportunities where it's like a package where they'll come to you and ask for a fee. And if it's true journalism, that's super shady. But if they have pure editorial and they're also selling ads, then they can it used to be complete separation. Advertising was completely independent from editorial when I started. You wouldn't even like breathe a word of it. Like, oh, well, we advertise, because editorial was like so sacred and they didn't want to ever cross a line and they needed journalistic integrity. Very quickly when I started, that evaporated when media started kind of dying and, not dying, because I know we all say media is dying. It's not dying, it's evolving. When it evolved away from traditional media getting those ad dollars the way that they were used to, they knew they needed to kind of sweeten the pot to get advertisers, and they offered editorial as part of that. Now it's that they're, offering sometimes like amplification on social media. So you could get a package, and if there is something that is so aligned with what your client, like your target audience that your client wants to reach, like a baby and kids outlet, and their audience is parents, pregnant parents, and they're offering you some kind of a package where you get pure editorial, you can pitch what you want, they'll decide what they feature, and then they're going to offer you a newsletter, a banner ad. People don't really do banner ads anymore. Social amplification, a stories takeover. Those, I feel, are worthwhile opportunities to present to clients. And when we sell our services to clients, we tell them that we also get opportunities for really good paid integrations, which we will forward to them. Like we have a client right now that is interested in being part of a huge gift guide. The gift guide this year is only pay to play. They have limited numbers of products per category. I think that they are not offering exclusivity, which is a little interesting. But for a fee, you can be part of their gift guide and you can get amplified on social and be part of their newsletter. And this was a $5,000 fee, and our client was like, sign us up. We love it. Let's do it. And so in that instance, we bring value because our agency has the relationship. We can negotiate a better package, but that's not the shady opportunities. Those are becoming more frequent with publications, and clients are interested and open to hearing them. Of course, we tell them our goal is always pure earned media, but when we come across paid opportunities like that, we will bring them to you. There's other things that come up that are sneaky, that come from the outlets where they've been coming up for years, where the people frame themselves as producers. So they will email the client directly and they'll say, I'm a producer for this lifestyle segment and we're interested in talking to you and featuring you. And then, you want to learn more. They'll say, let's get on the phone and we'll discuss like how we're going to feature your client and in what markets we're going to feature it and all of that. And then you get on the phone and the client's all excited. Oh yeah, the client's all excited and they're like, oh my God, a TV segment, right? And then the person says, well, it's $7,500 to produce it. And that's to air in this many markets. But if you wanted to air more broadly, these are like cable shows. There's cable shows and other things that are really compilations of paid integrations. They're sneaky. And for us, it's really frustrating because the client gets it and they forward it to us. And I'm like, this isn't real. And sometimes we look like we're pushing back a little bit because maybe that lead didn't come from us. But in all of our experience, we know. And you could do a little search on it and see that it is a paid opportunity. And yeah, don't even waste your time with it. These are sneaky, but they're less detrimental to our industry because it's kind of like an advertorial opportunity and it's easy to ignore. And our clients know that they're not real PR opportunities. So it doesn't take away from what we are doing to get earned media. It doesn't like threaten our business model, let's say. Okay. So aside from that, and now there's like councils. We've seen like Forbes Council, Entrepreneur Council, Fast Company Council, where they're applying. It would be like thought leadership opportunity for individual experts. You pay an annual fee. Supposedly they only choose certain experts to contribute that are in different niches. So they don't have too many thought leadership voices in each platform. And then you get the opportunity to write articles as part of their council and place them on, on their platform. And that's a little misleading too. It's another way to monetize. I get that. Usually the caliber of people that they're featuring are good and the content is good. I believe it has to be vetted in advance, but that's another kind of paid opportunity to earn real estate with an article on that platform. So PR firms will say things like that, our PR agency is solely based on results, not retainers. We have an opportunity for a full feature in Business Insider, and it'll take about 2 weeks. And you only pay if we place the feature, and you'll be able to approve it beforehand, right? Like I'll land you in Forbes or Entrepreneur, etc., for $500. If like this makes your makes your hair stand on end, makes your skin crawl. This is definitely appealing to the problem with our industry being as the standard, like results are not guaranteed. That's how we all operate. And that's a pain for founders of companies or CEOs where they have to show ROI and they're taking a leap of faith because they don't know if they're going to get anything. And so, yeah, so they don't know if they're going to get anything. And so this really appeals to them because they only pay if there's a feature, and it kind of solves a problem with our industry, like the basic complaint about our industry. And there are a lot of really bad PR firms that have maybe taken a fee, not that they intended to do a bad job, but maybe they didn't go through the agency accelerator and vet their clients to know whether there were actually going to be opportunities to feature them, to know if they were ready for PR, or maybe they just overpromised and couldn't deliver. And so that client is now like, PR is a waste of money. And they go out into the world and they say PR, they can't guarantee results, and they didn't get me anything. And I spent a 6-month retainer and I got nothing. And that is a kind of feeling about our industry that, of course, none of us would ever, be on that side of it, that we're having to overcome. We get a lot, like we kind of specialize in generation, my PR firm, in like the turnaround for clients that have gone to other firms, had a bad experience, and we kind of do a postmortem. What happened? Like where was the problem? And it takes a lot of like cajoling, but we'll say, we don't know what is going to happen, but here's the approach we're going to take, and it'll be a little different. It's a problem, and it's part of what we have to overcome in our industry. So anyway, this is a problem for CMOs or CEOs, that they have to show ROI. So it's appealing to say, look, I paid for an insertion in this outlet. We got this great feature, but here's the deal. So instead of the media outlet offering the paid integration, it's the PR firm who's being shady about it. So we all know that Business Insider has editorial. I've been featured on Business Insider, pure editorial, didn't pay a cent, pitched an idea about a career transition from when I was an attorney and did this, and got a really good, beautiful, nice, wonderful feature in Business Insider. But they also have pay-to-play opportunities. So sure, they probably do have an opportunity for a full feature, one that a poor, unsuspecting client will pay for, and that probably has a big upcharge for the client when they place the story. And the big challenge, like the big sort of aha here that this is shady, is when they say that you can approve the piece ahead of time. Because we all know, if you're working with an editor, writer, journalist, and they're writing an article, they may fact check certain pieces, but they're not going to give you the opportunity to review and approve the article ahead of time. Never has this happened. Sometimes these agencies are writers or contributors, and they're using their platform as a way to make money. And it is absolutely against the terms that you sign with these platforms. So this pay-to-play, this agency-driven pay-to-play opportunity is newer, and it's hurting our industry because it is undermining the pure kind of earned media tactic strategy, this earned media skill that we all have invested in and that we're all like experts in our craft. Guaranteeing these placements, it really does undermine what we are doing in like a retainer-based service and trying to get multiple outlets. Clients for us want the right kind of outlets. There's a code of ethics that we work to adhere to in PR, and earned media is earned media. And we work on a retainer to try to get as much earned media as possible, and it has to be the right media. So communications cannot and it should not be driven by one single placement, that short-term success, regardless of whether it's paid or organic, we know that good communication strategy, good communicators like us, we care about strategy, we care about messaging, we care about storytelling. And good clients care about that too. They don't just want one hit, and some of these these agencies that offer the pay to play are using that as a sales tactic. They'll use that as a way to get more money, more, opportunities, or like they'll do that one proven thing where they've paid for some, bulk real estate for a sponsored opportunity. They land you in that. You're like, wow, they're amazing. And then they kind of take a retainer and then don't deliver because they don't understand strategy, messaging, and storytelling, which is what we do. When you're guaranteeing a feature, what they're doing, like I said, is they're paying wholesale for real estate on these websites. Like they're buying bulk ad space because they have an inside track with a contributor or a journalist. This is not adhering to our code of ethics, and the outlets don't like this. And as soon as they realize that a contributor is selling space, they're done. They cut them off. They delete the article, all the article. They blacklist the client. So you won't ever get featured. So when you, like I said, kick off a campaign with a new client, you need to look around and you need to like ask them, have you ever paid for an article in a publication, like specifically paid for a feature, so that you know what you're dealing with. This is also social media. I remember back in the day, we would have to ask clients, have you ever paid for followers? You need to know that, because if you get into their account and they had a bot and it's all like bots following them, and it's like all these shady tactics, or they did automated engagement, you're going to have a really hard time with their Instagram account. You're not going to be able to organically grow it, because Instagram, I know we talk about shadow banning and all of that. It does affect how Instagram, the algorithms, get your content and get your page engagement out there. It does. It just does. So you need to know if they have done those things. Just like when you work with a client, you have to know if they have paid for editorial, because that could come up and it'll make your job a lot harder. So yeah, they can delete the content so the client is paying for it and then it's just gone. And like I said, the agencies that are offering this strategy has no idea what the company's goals are, what their key messaging is, what their strategy includes, who their audience is. And also maybe Business Insider or Forbes or some of these outlets aren't a great place for them to tell their story. And the other thing too is when they guarantee it within a certain time frame, there's no way that these like quote unquote agencies are getting the information, getting the valid content in 2 weeks. I mean, we're crafting strategy, we're building lists, we're crafting pitch angles, we're like diving into competitors and looking at positioning. That doesn't happen in 2 weeks. So, they're not focused on strategy, goals, all of that. The other thing, we talked about this last week, but something else that PR firms are really kind of wrongly doing is guaranteeing their clients X amounts of placements. And maybe that's not in specific outlets. So sometimes this is the worst, guys. I've had clients that are like, look at my report from my other agency. And literally what they're doing is syndicating press releases across low quality outlets. And they're like, they got me 150 features last month. And we're like, did you look at that? It's nothing. It is literal garbage. We also have seen some PR firms offer a la carte services. If you're in the agency accelerator, you know that we do not advocate, do not recommend this. It isn't much of a thing anymore, but clients still ask for it. Like they'll say, can I pay you a certain number, a certain dollar based on successful placements? We recommend not pricing your services this way because your value as a PR pro is so much more than that. And what we want you to do, and this is like the premise of the Agency Accelerator, is setting up consistent, predictable, recurring retainer revenue for yourself. And so much of getting placements is out of your control. So pitching and trying to secure an article and just hoping that you land something, it's not a winning strategy. And it's also leaving a lot of opportunity on the table for clients, because they're aiming to get one thing here and there, whereas you can take that, maybe that same amount for one placement, and work it across the board with all of your contacts. Maybe, you're not guaranteeing results, but you have more tentacles out there, more irons in the fire, more things at different phases. And, that's to the benefit of clients. So if clients, this is another thing I always say, is clients don't get to come in and tell you how to run your business. So if a client's like, well, I really only want to pay for, placements that are landed, you say, well, this isn't how we run our business. And we have found that clients get the best results and the best ROI by having a consistent strategy, a retainer service, so we can get different messages out to the right media outlets. And, you have more opportunities this way. Otherwise, you're going to work on one thing until it happens, because otherwise it's a big waste of time. You're going to go after something that's maybe a sure thing for you and not necessarily the best thing for the client, or the last for one outlet, and you're just trying and trying and trying. Maybe it's not even the right thing for them. And that's discounting your expertise, your strategic planning. All of that is like kind of discounting the value that you really bring as a PR pro.